Great. So here we are live in our Impact Partnerships series of webinars of which this is the first edition that we're very happy at Tech to the Rescue with this new initiative showcasing stories of tech for good collaboration. In this case, we are going to be talking about building AI to predict medicine shortages. And we have in the room Revolution Analytics, a tech company that is has been with Tech to the Rescue doing amazing work. I think like it's been for a year or so. I remember I met you. I was the first point of contact with Revolution Analytics. I was so happy to meet them and see how aligned they were to our mission when that happens. And we also have global strategies with us, Joshua and Samuel, who have been participants in our programs. And it's really a great pleasure to have you here. Thank you so much for making the time. And to kick off this series with us. So if just for setting the scene, for starting to open as people join us, it would be great to start with some introductions. So I don't know, maybe Joshua, you can tell us a bit about yourself, a bit about global strategies and the communities you serve.
Great. Well, thank you so much for the opportunity to be here. And it's great to see Joy and Diana on this call. As I told our team before coming on, I said, this is perfect. We can finally have a venue where we can publicly thank Joy and Diana for all the just incredible work you've done to help children. So we're really grateful. Global Strategies is a nonprofit organization. It's based in California. Our work is really global, and our mission is to really help communities improve the quality of medical care that they deliver with really a focus on women's health and pediatrics. The project we'll be talking about today is near and dear to my heart because it involves newborns, and that's an area where I practice still clinically in the hospital. Just a little bit about me before I turn it over is I'm a pediatrician myself. I still practice clinically, and I've dedicated a lot of my effort, especially at Global Strategies, to really seeing that high quality care reach every part of the world. So it's a real pleasure to be here.
Thank you so much, Joshua. And maybe, I don't know, Diana, do you want to take the turn now and tell us a bit about Revolution Analytics and what you do? What drew you to data science and AI work in the social impact space in the first place?
Thank you very much for this opportunity. It's a pleasure to be here and to have this opportunity to see the Global Strategies team once more and show people that it's possible to work irrespective of where our borders are. So Revolution Analytics, we do consultancy where we advise organizations on what they need to do to prepare for automation that is using data science and AI. We build custom solutions. So you have a problem, you come to us, we brainstorm, and we build a solution fit for purpose, so specific to your pain point. We do outsourcing to other tech teams. So you may have a project and you don't have the resources, so you outsource a portion of it to us, or you may have several projects and all of them are time sensitive, so we can take over some of those projects on your behalf. And lastly, we have partnerships. So that comes in two forms. One where we are partnering with subject matter experts. So they have the knowledge, they have the experience in an industry that is not our niche, and we are able to come with the technology. We come together, we partner, we build a product, which we co-own and put in the market. Now, that same model is what we've applied to our partnership here in Global Strategies, minus the commercialization side of it. So this is what Revolution Analytics is doing as our CSR, our corporate social responsibility. So we are doing development of the solution on a pro bono basis, but same concept, subject matter experts, in this case in the health industry, global strategies. We came together, brainstormed, built a solution, and that is what has brought us here today. The reason, what drew us to data science and AI work in the social impact space, as techies, we spend a lot of time in front of our screens. So you'll find during work, we're in front of our screens, and during our free time, we are still in front of our screens. So the best way to give back is to give back in front of our screens. So developing solutions, helps us to at least give back to the community and have an impact. Thank you.
Yeah, that's very clear. And also it's such necessary work with this massive opportunity that is being created by AI. It's a massive opportunity and also a massive gap, right? That we are as an ecosystem with your support, your muscle, your expertise, helping mitigate this gap for the social sector as well. And so let's move on. I'd like Samuel, maybe you want to introduce yourself and also tell us what sort of challenge was Global Strategies trying to solve, and why did you think about looking for a tech partner for this help?
Sure, I'm a React Native developer mostly. I've dabbled in other areas. I've done a little bit of Python development here and there, but mostly React Native. Mm-hmm. As for the problem we were facing, let me try and paint a picture for how things work. So let's say a nurse is helping a sick baby. The baby needs antibiotics, but that dosage varies based off of the baby's weight. So how do they calculate that dosage? They pull up a tablet. They have the NoviGuide app, which will tell them, given this weight, this is the correct ampicillin dosage. Yay, that's great. The baby is helped. The baby is cured. But in order for that happy ending to come true, that ampicillin needs to be in stock. So how can we do better? Here's a new picture. And this is how NoviGuide works right now. The nurse looks to the app. They see that dosage that's been calculated for them, and they also see a question: what is your ampicillin stock right now? Green, yellow, red, like a stoplight. Green means the stock is great. Red means we're out. Yellow means the stock might be getting weak. Okay.
Traffic light system.
Yeah. And we can see that in our internal dashboard with hundreds of NoviGuiding nurses across all our different partners and hospitals. Where's the stock getting weak? So we have some visibility, but it's only about the present. It would be better if we could look to the future and say, this is where we think we can predict. This is where the stock is going to run out. So it doesn't run out. So we can address the problem before it actually happens. And how might we do that? Well, let me just give a home analogy. You could think about the stock of cheese in my refrigerator. You could just look at the cheese bag and say, is that cheese bag getting low? But you could also say, is there tomato sauce in the fridge? Because Samuel likes to make pizza. And if he's making pizza, he's going to use cheese. And you could also say, is it Friday? Because Samuel is a creature of habit, and he often makes pizzas on Friday. So if you're just looking at those two factors, maybe a human could do it. But if you're going to look at 24 factors, and you don't just have one refrigerator, but 100 refrigerators, then you might need machine learning. And that's where we might need to reach out to a partner, because myself, I have expertise in building React Native applications and React websites, but machine learning is not my area of expertise. So that's, and we were not just looking for technical chops, although this team certainly has them. We were also looking for someone who could resonate with our mission, and I think that's what we found with Diana and Joy.
That's a great description.
Yeah.
And this search for someone that would resonate with your mission, I guess, like coming to a Tech for Good ecosystem felt like the right next step.
Exactly. I mean, the tech to the rescue matching system, for those who are not familiar with it, it's like you put out your idea and then companies come forward and say, like, I'm interested in that. That actually was wonderful because it ensured that whoever approached us was interested in the idea of the thing and not just the technical problem. So I think I echo what Samuel said.
So that's the perfect segue to my question to Joy. And again, like, take the opportunity to tell us also a little bit about yourself, Joy. When this project came to Revolution Analytics, what made you and your team decide to take it on? Did you see something in particular in it? And I say came, but maybe it was you proactively actually choosing to meet global strategies, right? So even if that was the case, it'd be good to know.
Okay, thank you. So I am a data scientist. I do everything to do with data, AI, and machine learning. So what really made us pick this project, as Joshua said, we have our own Tech to the Rescue page where you can be able to select a project. We had various projects that we had selected, and we sat down as a team to be able to pick one that would not just be interesting in terms of solving the problem, but something that would resonate deeply with the team. And for us, what global strategies do with neonatal care really resonated deeply with us because they're able to bring the care to the children at a closer. So we were reading something before we actually made the decision that when you look at the mortality rate of newborn babies, it's very high in sub-Saharan Africa. And one of the reasons is because of them not being able to get immediate care. And global strategies are able to do this through NoviGuide. Now, if we could be able to contribute to this from the end of Stockout Prediction, that was a very interesting thing and also full to us.
Really putting like tech expertise at the core of social impact, right? So maybe this is a question to whoever wants to take it on, because right before kicking off the webinar, we were gathered and chatting and testing our mics and so on, and we were talking. I was hearing like, "Oh, this partnership has been so smooth. It was great, you know, from the first moment." So I'm kind of curious to know your first impressions, like when you met each other for the first matching meeting. Like, was there early on a moment that you thought, oh yes, this partnership could work? And if so, was that mainly driven because of this mission alignment, or anything in particular about, you know, each other as stakeholders? Who will be
I can jump in.
brave?
Go ahead, Diana.
Yes.
Go ahead. You go first. I'll go next.
I think the first time we met the team, for me, I found them to be friendly. Just looking at them, I knew this is going to work. And then in the initial stages, the commitment they show towards what they do just made me feel comfortable. I knew this is something that we will do and we'll be able to talk about it as a success story. So there are people you meet, and the first time you meet them, you just have that feeling before even they say anything that, you know, we are going to do great things. So that was the feeling I had when I first met them.
I'll echo that. I will add that my first impression was we knew that Joy was going to be one of the leads on this project, and just the care, the effort, the intelligence, and the skill were just like all there, the whole package. And I felt confident because we had been matched. So this was not like this was not like a blind date. You know, this was we knew going in that this was a group that chose us based on the work with newborns. And then one last thing I'll mention is that I work with babies every day of my life. It's a real joy. And my experience is that it brings out the best in every person. And if you brought a baby to this meeting right now, everybody would have a smile on their face. So I felt confident that people come together for babies. And so I was optimistic that this would work. I also knew we had Samuel on our team to be able to benefit from the knowledge that the Revolution Analytics team would give us.
That's awesome. You know, before joining Tech to the Rescue, I had a tech startup, and I engaged with a couple of projects through Tech to the Rescue. And when you were talking, it just made me, it reminded me how much of the human aspect it is, the value of the collaboration, meeting really driven people who want to solve problems, collaborating together, seeing the solution, being deployed and having the impact. Yeah, it is truly also to make great relationships, professional and even beyond that. And you were saying, Joy, you mentioned like sort of the impact alignment being sort of the first or aspect to deciding to get involved in the project. But I guess, was there also like a technical challenge for the team, or something related to upskilling, or some sort of additional value that you saw in partaking from this sort of point of view?
Yes, definitely. I don't know if Diana mentioned this. Most of the projects that we have been doing as Revolution Analytics have been in other industries that haven't been healthcare. We've worked in the finance industry. We did do something to do with policies with Tech to the Rescue as well. We also did a project on saving titles' lives with Tech to the Rescue. So we had not ventured into the healthcare industry before. And from a data science and ML perspective, when you're building models in the healthcare industry, it's very different from when you're building a financial model. When you're building for healthcare, you need to really think about the human aspect of it. And when you think of predictions, it's not just accurate predictions, but at these predictions coming in at the right time so that decisions are made at the right time. So that was an opportunity for us to challenge ourselves.
That's really interesting. I hear that from several tech founders joining the movement, of like having the opportunity to experience projects on other domains that is not maybe the domains that they are most agile in terms of commercializing, but like also developing domain expertise in other areas that maybe later on can also help the business, right? To start selling in other verticals as well, your services. So then there is, like what it's actually like. You're working in different time zones, right? You were mentioning, Joshua, that Global Strategies itself is a remote team. I see we lost Diana for, but maybe Joy, you could take this one. If you could walk us through, like, how did you structure the work? There she is. So I'm gonna add her to the stream. See if she's back. She's back. Great. Yeah. How did you structure the work? How did you manage to collaborate across the US and Kenya? You were like accommodating to possibly different organizational cultures and different time zones. If you could speak a bit about that, it would be interesting to hear.
Yeah. Okay. I think coming into this partnership, we're already coming with previous experience, not just within our own organizational cultures being primarily or fully remote, but also with working with our clients and partners from different time zones, and also with projects we had done before with Tech to the Rescue. So we were coming in with that experience. But I think experience aside, what helped is on the kickoff, we did have a sit down and we set communication being part of the system design and not just something that will support, but part of the system design. So we had regular meetings every 2 weeks. We had a meeting where we discuss what we've been able to do, what are some of the challenges we have, and we then progressively share what we have come. So we'd include the global strategies team into what we're already doing. So then we'd get their feedback, and that helped a lot. And we also set up Slack channels to be able to communicate. Yeah.
Did you use this completely out of curiosity, but did you also use a sort of a project management tool? Did you create a Kanban board, maybe for transparency, so you both teams knew the sort of the progress of the of the technical work being done, or maybe that wasn't necessary?
I think what we agreed on the meetings, so every 2 weeks, update on everything that's been done. And in between using the Slack channel, then we would communicate on any requirements that we would need to progress, so that by the time we are meeting, we have significant steps to show from what we had the previous 2 weeks.
And I'm curious, Samuel, since you're technical yourself, what was it like suddenly working with an external tech team in something that, as I understand, is quite central to your mission? Was there a period of building trust, or how was your experience?
Well, I could say that everyone at Global Strategies was very excited by this opportunity to work with this high-powered data science and machine learning team from Kenya. But we do collaborations all the time. We need to in order to achieve our mission. We have these NoviGuide tablets in the field. We need to collaborate with healthcare professionals to keep them up to date. But in terms of advice for others, you don't necessarily have to leap in if you have the time. Take the time to scope out the project. Make sure everyone's going to have what they need. And something they did that was very helpful was they sent us this detailed project proposal. So we had a very concrete sense of what this project was going to entail, what different parties were going to need. So that was very helpful. And I also want to give Diana and Joy credit, because I always felt that a great sense of patience for my points of confusion and these regular check-ins, and also a sense of openness. Joy was sharing her Jupyter notebook and saying, "These are the new features I've been working on." We always had a very detailed sense of where the project was and where it was going.
So generally, like, good communication, transparency, meeting deadlines, right? That so fundamental to a good collaboration, especially in tech, right?
Yeah.
And what actually sort of like builds together technically. So what in terms of like the complexity, or what was the most interesting problem you had to solve technically? Joy, was there something in particular that you felt really boosted your team, your own knowledge, or your team's knowledge? Anything particular technically that you're proud of, that you...
Okay, so I think we built a stockout prediction engine, and that's already obvious. That's what has drawn us here. But what was really challenging was being able to translate what the model has predicted and have that as an alert in the front end that there's going to be a possible stockout event. What the model predicts is it doesn't predict that there's going to be a stockout. It predicts a probability score between 0 and 1. Now, translating that into an alert was very challenging for us because you need to find the sweet spot. If you set it too low, then you have a lot of alerts, and that brings out fatigue because the team is getting a lot of alerts. And we picked a 7-day period whereby you're predicting whether there's going to be a stockout in the next 7 days. So the closer you move to that 7th day, the alerts are coming in even more, and it's even we have traffic lights that are either high, moderate, or critical. So then if you're looking at this alerts, you need to find a sweet spot. And we did, during those meetings that we'd have every 2 weeks, we did decide on a sweet spot, and that helped in making sure you're getting in alerts, but then you're not getting alerts that are false positives as well.
I see. That's so like the importance of like keeping in mind the user, right? And that the user actually gets the alerts that are significant, understanding what the pain point is and building sort of in a lean way to what is actually needed, right? Really understanding. So that's something that you highlight as I don't know how to say it, but sort of a conquer, like being able to design something that out of the complexity that it could be sending very different types of alerts, you manage to together build something that is functional to what needs to be done, right?
Yeah.
And I'll add to that from the user perspective.
Yeah.
Like, imagine that nurse who's like, a lot of our work is in Eastern Congo and throughout Uganda. So imagine this nurse picks up the tablet, they're trying to calculate the medication, they calculate it and they indicate they don't have it. Okay, now put yourself in that nurse's shoes. That's a moment of like extreme helplessness. Like, I know what to do and I cannot do it. It's like someone like sending up a flare, like I'm in alert. With the technology that Joy and Diana built, all of a sudden you can tell that same nurse, like, look, we see the alert and we're going to use this to prevent the next one from happening. It's much more empowering now to hit that button instead of just saying like, I'm in distress. It's like knowing that those signals like low stock, I'm almost out, is going to lead to something. Or just by hitting like I'm in stock or using it, but watching those patterns has a meaning. So when I think a lot about our nurse users and what it's like to use this technology, often using it even offline with intermittent syncing. This is just very powerful, the technology to say, okay, this could help prevent someone else, your colleague, from being in the same situation tomorrow.
So the sort of the data input, sort of data collection from the side of the nurses and the staff is essential for this tool, right? This tool is working with nurses monitoring the stock and tapping a button saying we're a bit low on stock, so that it optimizes the conversation in terms of supply chain, right? Between the people on the field in the front line and you guys said you are in the US.
An analogy I would use is nurses use our tool to get from point A to point B. It's almost like a map software to take them down these routes. But we know that these nurses and hundreds, like this is across hundreds of sites, they have their eyes on the road. So they can see things while they're driving. Like I saw a crash, I saw a stock out. And yet they never had a way to report that back. Okay, well, we gave them a way to report that back. Like I'm running low on this medication. I saw a low stock while driving. That then becomes a traffic map where you can see this. And where Joy and Diana took us is that next step, which is there's traffic ahead, let's reroute. those kind of prediction elements are so essential. So I think for people on the call who think about inventory, they'll know that's actually a complicated problem of which NoviGuide is a puzzle piece. But what we bring to the table is appropriate use of the medication. So people are using the NoviGuide to know when to use the medication appropriately. Now, when you stock out, it's because you're using it appropriately and not using it when it wasn't indicated. So there's some really complexities in healthcare, as Joy alluded to.
And out of curiosity, like how many staff members or devices is it being used, the solution on?
NoviGuide,
I don't know what kind of metrics you have.
Yeah, NoviGuide neonatal is used about 300,000 times a year voluntarily. So it's a popular product. And it's used in about 120 sites. One thing that didn't come up as a technical challenge, I was curious from Joy and Diana's perspective, is it's mostly used offline to accommodate low resource settings that don't have connectivity. Then they sync it online. So that's like always been in the core technology. So you're trying to predict things when actually not syncing. I think a major driver forward for us would be internet connectivity. Because if people were always connected, the engine that Joy and Diana built for us would be even more powerful.
Yeah.
Makes sense. Slightly onto another topic, because we might have some tech founders, CTOs who are curious, about this whole pro bono work movement and how it works. Maybe it would be quite nice to hear from you, Diana, from sort of a leadership perspective. How did you support your team through a pro bono project that is running alongside your, stream of paid client work?
Thank you. So pro bono, or it not being a commercial project, does not mean that we put it in the back burner. So as we mentioned, that Tech to the Rescue have a number of projects, and you select. And once we see projects, we discuss as a team, we look at our resources and decide, are we able to take it on? So once we take it on, we commit to it. We treat it just like our paid projects, because financial reward is one thing, but the knowledge, the experience, the partnerships that you gain from the pro bono are things that you can even commercialize later. Like that knowledge will stay with you. So something being pro bono does not make it less important. So we treat our pro bono projects just like our other projects. So if, and this has happened, we've had some of the people from Tech to the Rescue approaching us and saying, we have this project, can you do it? And we've said, no, right now we don't have the capacity. So being able to know your limits as well makes you be able to deliver. So take on what you're able to do and commit to it and do it with all your heart, like put your heart into it, because you never know where it will lead you to. So yeah, that would be the advice I would give.
And early on, you mentioned that this is part of your sort of corporate social responsibility. Is this something that at Revolution Analytics has been important since you started the company? Has it always been with you? Did it start with Tech to the Rescue? Maybe it's interesting to see how how do you place it within the mission of running a software company, right? What place does it take in the DNA of Revolution Analytics? I mean, Revolution is already an indicator that you want to change something, right?
Yes, it is. So as I mentioned, as techies, we spend a lot of time in front of our screens. So everything we do, you'll find during your free time, you're trying to fix a problem, you're doing something, you're coding. And then during the day, you're employed, so you're working on code. So the best way to give back is through your skills. So as much as you're spending a lot of time on your computer, why not dedicate this time to giving back to the community? Because not everyone can go for the hikes, the walks, where you raise funds or contribute financially. But if you can use your skill to give back, why not? And you'll be doing it while doing something that you love. So we did not start with it from when we started the company, but meeting Tech to the Rescue enabled us to incorporate this into our daily work. So it was a blessing in disguise, because now we are able to continue doing what we love, but we are able to have impacts being included as part of what we do.
Maybe I wonder if I remember correctly, but weren't you also engaged sort of with education yourself, Diana, with
Not really
university?
education. So what we do, we are addressing the gap that exists currently in terms of manpower. So you find that a lot of people, students in the university, when they finish their studies, you find that everyone is asking for 10 years, 5 years of experience. They're fresh out of university. They've not had the work experience, or they've not worked on real projects. So what we do, we start working with them when they're students. We bring them in to work on real problems so that they can see how what they're learning applies in the real world. And once they finish, we onboard them. So by the time they're finishing their studies, they have a couple of years of experience. So that is another way in which we are giving back, like providing the experience that is needed. So it is beneficial for them. And at the end of the time with us, we've had some of them being taken by big companies to work for them. And we are happy because we've been able to provide that platform for them where they can grow. Because sometimes the difference between what you learn in a classroom and what is there in the real world are so different and disconnected that a talented person may fail to get a job, not because they're not smart, but because they've not had that experience. Yeah.
And it's a very competitive market, right? There's also a bit of an upheaval with AI and what it's doing to the field, right?
Yes.
Cyril, may I just add in on something Diana said is,
sure.
you think about companies considering this, which is a commitment to do this pro bono. And something I think about even myself, like leading our team, is I know at the end of the day, everyone's going to go home to their families. And the first question they're going to be asked is, how was your day at work today? And I think having a project like this, it's like today I did something totally meaningful and I was working on, newborn care, even if it was just 1% of the time you spent. That helps build a company culture. Like I think about, the people who have been on our team for over a decade and what keeps them there. And you're retaining the top talent that you're trying. And it's often more than the salary. It's some tie to what you are trying to accomplish together. And I will add in through the grateful to Tech to the Rescue, because some of it also is the interesting people you meet. And I have to say, like the team at Revolution Analytics, it was just like such a joy to meet them, to just like see this awesome company and the skills that they brought. It was just really cool.
That's a very, very nice words. And yeah, a lot of the things you say, we also see we hear repeated as a pattern, right? Using how our ecosystem can help companies upskill junior developers, right? That there's a lot of companies out there that are focused on giving employability skills to people wanting to train in software development. And we collaborate with some of them, and they take our projects because they use them as real world projects that can train and develop skills. And it's so great because hearing this talk, I see that there's definitely a pattern of benefits and upsides that one can expect from this type of collaborations. So, Joshua, if you don't mind, maybe we can talk a little bit about the impact, right? What has changed since this collaboration, and what has this sort of technology made possible for global strategies and the communities you serve? I know you talked a little bit about how the nurses use it, but maybe this is your time to illustrate a bit more. If you have any specific examples, also it might be very helpful to understand what the impact is of this work.
Okay, well, this is exciting times for us. So I am actually the inaugural user of the forecaster. And so I am the one currently experimenting with it and seeing how to integrate it into the workflows for our teams. But it's extremely exciting to start to see the patterns that are emerging and where we can have an action with the teams in Uganda and Congo, some of whom are probably listening into this call today, about proactive, being proactive, reaching out to a team where an alert has happened just to say, hey, we're seeing this alert. Why don't you check the stock? These teams, especially in Uganda and Congo, are in continuous communication over WhatsApp. So this WhatsApp is how a lot of this is done. So the ability to get to the field through technology is really there. Then I will say zooming out, this type of technology that we work in is called clinical decision support. It's a boring name, but it tells you what it's doing. It's helping the nurse make a better decision or help the doctor make a better decision. And I think for years, people have thought about that technology as helping that nurse get the right answer. I think what this work is showing on a larger scale is, well, wait a minute, there may be more to this story. The data of watching people get to that answer has something to tell us about the overall health of the system. I often think about a nurse trying to take care of a sick baby who maybe doesn't do that every day. There are internal barriers, like I don't know what to do. And then there are external barriers. I don't have what I need. I think this technology is showing how maybe we could hit both sides of this problem. So there's that zoomed in real world impact of stopping stockouts. There's the zoomed out of opening people's eyes about the power of this type of technology.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. And beyond, this is sort of an open question. Would be great to hear from both of you, from both of the organizations. But beyond sort of the actual deliverables, the agreed deliverables of the project, and what did each organization gain from this partnership? Maybe even also from sort of the ecosystem. I mean, it's an open question, so whatever comes to mind. But something that you might maybe surprised you, like you didn't anticipate it. It wasn't part of your strategy in engaging with this type of projects, maybe there was something novel that surprised you.
Samuel, you want to start from our side?
Yeah, I'd just say a sense of confidence, because this is probably the largest machine learning project we ever done. I don't know if we've done that many machine learning projects before. So it just feels like there's a new frontier open for us, seeing this work out so well.
That's interesting. Confidence and empowerment, right?
Right.
But it enables you to also think beyond. What's the vision now for what will be the next project? How can we continue to grow the tool, I guess, But I hear you, Diana, sorry.
Yeah, I think for us, we've done a number of these collaborations, even outside of Tech to the Rescue. And I think considering the medical industry, the dedication of this team was something I did not expect, because with a lot of the projects we've done, you find, meetings are moved, they're busy, but with them, we always had our sessions, like they were there. So that availability, considering that this is the medical industry, and you would expect that they are really, really backed up in terms of work, and, they're busy, like the way they were able to make time every single time. So it's something I did not expect. Like it was exemplary. Like it's what helped us to move, because most of the difficulty comes when, yes, you have the heart to do it, but the person you're doing it for does not show the interest or the willingness. You're chasing for the data, and so you start wondering, like, are they really interested in this solution, or is it just something that you want to do to show that you're doing something impactful, but your heart is not in it. So yeah, that was what stood out for me. the dedication to being there to enable us to deliver what they expected from us.
And since you told us that this is not your first project with Tech to the Rescue, you're serial tech for good doer, right? At this point, a real champion in Tech to the Rescue, tech champion. We like to call organizations like yours. Have these projects, maybe this one in particular, these projects that with Tech to the Rescue shaped how you think about the work and sort of kind of projects that the company takes on, even outside of pro bono, right? So commercial. Has it somehow changed in any way or refined your strategy or your focus areas or whatever comes to mind? Joy and Diana, whoever wants to comment on that.
Yes, it has. So as an organization, when you start, you decide this is what I want to do. This is the niche area I want to focus on. So you put all your energies there. But with these collaborations, we've realized that, you need to have an open mind. You can work with other areas, and actually strategies are meant to change. They're not supposed to be constant. So by doing these collaborations outside of our niche, which was financial services, we are seeing that, you can actually achieve your goals by opening up. Take on more. Don't be afraid to move outside of your comfort zone, because opportunities come from anywhere. So by just focusing on this small area and not trying out other areas, at some point you'll get stuck because you find that you've run out of ideas or you've done what you feel you're capable of doing in that area, but now you've not explored anything else. There's no direction for you to move. So create legroom by exploring other things to allow you to grow year after year. So strategies are built to change and not be static. It's good to have it when starting, but be flexible enough to change with the times.
And since we've just recently kicked off 2026, is in anything in particular of sort of the strategy for this year has a sort of a concrete impact, or like has it informed your any aspect of your strategy for the year that you're kicking off now in terms of planning ahead?
I think in terms of pursuing more partnerships with subject matter experts. So we are currently doing something in the legal arena, which we were not doing before. So we've said, let everyone stick to their lane. We can't do everything and we can't guess what matters in different industries. So why not come together? Let the experts tell you what they need, and we, being experts in technology, build the solution together and then take it to the market. Yeah.
And if I would like mirror a similar kind of question to global strategies, but maybe more about like, has this project sort of in any way your strategy moving forward with your interventions, or has it like in any way sort of impacted the vision for the solution or the tool? Do you have anything in mind that is sort of growing in the horizon?
Yeah, I think for this type of work, imagine me explaining it to our partners and our supporters out there, because we're a nonprofit organization. And a lot of the questions I would get is, well, what happens with all this data? It's anonymous, but is it acted upon? When someone signals a stock out, like what happens next? This has really connected the dots for us. And it's helped us kind of complete that narrative to say, and this is what happens now. It's led to a stock out alerts and forecasting. It really closed a circle for us. So I think for 2026, a lot of our work is looking at what is in this anonymous data that could help the health system at a larger level. This project is really like a shining example and a great first start to 2026.
Awesome. Okay, so I think we're at the time where we're gonna start winding down and closing, and maybe a good way to do it would be a message of advice to others in terms of, like, for example, Samuel, maybe you want to give some advice that you would give to other nonprofits that are considering a tech partnership, and what's maybe something in particular that you think that made this one work, or any words of like encouragement to for any other nonprofits looking to onboard in this type of journey?
Yeah, so there's a lot that could be said. I think one thing that helped with this project is having at least a little bit of technological expertise on both sides. Another thing that you could say is, well, when I first started working with global strategies, I remember we have in our internal dashboard a big number. That big number is how many times has NoviGuide been used to help a child or a baby or a mother. It's a big number. It was a big number when I first started working with global strategies, but it was even bigger by last year, beginning of last year, where we were just starting to think about, well, where are we going to go with AI and global strategies? So that's another thing to think about is, where are you in your journey? What kind of data do you have? And what does that data support? But I also just need to hand it to Joy and Diana. This was not just a machine learning model. It was a whole end-to-end system from the time that nurse taps the button on the tablet through layers of normalizing data, of adding features, pushing it through the model, all the way to our internal dashboard. It was a complete package. It's a lot of gears in it. So thank you.
I bet it did help. You mentioned sort of an aspect of being ready, right? Having the data ready, having a plan, having a vision for what you want to build. I guess that you're in the team and you're tech savvy as well.
Yeah. Oh, and another thing I should say is something else that helped is maybe consider going to a boot camp like AI for Changemakers, because you might be like me and be lucky and see on a Miro board an exercise that's very similar to the kind of work you're doing. It starts giving you ideas.
So was that your case? You got the ideas from a Miro exercise in the boot camp?
It was a source of inspiration.
Okay, that's great to know. That's awesome. And in your case, Joy and Diana, for tech companies and professionals who are curious about this kind of work, any sort of last words or advice or words of encouragement to wrap it up?
I think I'll start from the techie point of view. Just one thing I normally go by is learning and relearning. And that's one thing I really experienced with this Global Strategies project. I came in with knowledge I had before, but then at a certain point, it was all a rest. I was like, okay, I need to relearn a few things as well. And if you're able to treat a lot of these projects as an opportunity to learn and expand what you already know, it will really help you have a smooth sail in doing them. Yeah.
That's great.
I think for me, I'd mentioned that currently, especially in the tech environment, the people looking for jobs are Generation Z. So those are people you have to keep excited. So opening up means that you break the monotony, because when someone is doing the same thing every day, they become human robots. They just come to wait for the day to end so that they can go back to doing more exciting things. So opening up and doing different things keeps them excited, because they don't know what project you're going to be doing tomorrow. So that keeps them wanting to come back to work. So yeah, open up.
And that's something you felt with the team at Revolution Analytics, sort of
Yes,
an intrinsic motivation.
Yes, they're always excited because they know we are working on different things. So you have the opportunity to upskill and to explore and also to try, because if you're doing the same thing, you don't get to use some of the knowledge you have. But if you're doing different things, you get to practice different things that you have learned or that you've wanted to try out over time but have not had somewhere to test it on. So yeah.
Well, so I'm just gonna before I close and wrap it up, if you have any last comments, anything you'd like to share, be welcome.
Maybe just for our side, just to express again our gratitude for the whole process, for the team from Revolution Analytics, for Joy and Diana, and also for Tech to the Rescue. It was just a great experience. As you can probably tell from this webinar, that this really just worked out great for us.
Thank you so much. Go ahead.
I was going to say I was definitely never going to be a medical doctor. And I had not thought that by doing what I do, I would be an accessory to saving lives. But here we are. So thank you, Tech to the Rescue, for this initiative. And then thank you, Global Strategies, for trusting us to do this with you and for you.
Thanks.
Those are some really powerful words of inspiration, Diana. I'm really tempted to wrap it up with that idea in mind, how this is also a chance to get closer to fields that you never imagined you would be collaborating in and have an impact, right?
Yes.
So with that, I want to encourage any tech founders, CTOs, tech companies that you're considering this work, just scan the QR code or go to our website and register with us. It's not binding to register. We'll pick up a call to explain the model, how it all works, what you can expect, and move on from there. And also a word of encouragement for nonprofits looking to like Samuel and Joshua were, what can we do? How can we prepare in the age of AI? We're running really, really holistic programs at Tech to the Rescue that and very soon opening to new cohorts. So at the moment on our website, you can leave your email and we'll be in touch with upcoming opportunities. So with that, I want to thank you so much, Joshua, Joy, and Diana, for being the first and pioneers in this impact partnership series that we'll be running moving forward. I don't know with what frequency, but we already have one lined up for coming up. And it's great to be able to hear these stories of tech collaborations and impact. And I'm very grateful that you were up for sharing your experience. Thank you so much.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, Chiro. It was a pleasure being here.
A pleasure connecting. Have a good day, afternoon, wherever you are, and we'll see you around.
Okay, thank you. Take care.
Bye.